So I'm just trying to buy time. As you can see, we're in the middle of a war. I'm going to really quickly go over what is this class called Blunderbuss Great Axe. It's a very fun OPR class. I actually think it has potential in war to overtake the roster or to overtake the Scorpion class on the roster. The reason for that is Blunderbuss does enough damage that by doing damage, you're pressuring the healer. The healer's forced to heal themselves, right? You have plague crits. You have plague splitting grenades. You don't have I don't have pestilence on this build, but that's because we want to run the Tempest Fury artifact here. With the Tempest Fury artifact and the winged leather shoes, and then alacrity on the amulet as well, the haste you get from hitting things is 6 seconds. 6 seconds. So you can hit a 30% haste that you can just maintain by left clicking enemies you're targeted to with auto aim of all things, right? Like, it's very easy to keep this going. Blocked hits do not count, but net shot goes through block as long as you have the final upgrade, but we'll get to that in a second. So this is roughly the build I'm going to be recommending for it. I'll post a link down below in the description of this, but we're looking at about 350 strength at minimum. I've played around with 350 strength, with 250 strength, so I can hit 250 intelligence. If you want the most damage, you're going to be at 350 strength. The extra points are in intelligence after you hit that 200 con. Now, the closer you are to min-maxing this build, the more con you can strip from this build. And you can put that con into intelligence, especially if you're playing on the edge of a fight or you're playing with a 5-man and you know your healer's going to be able to support you. Blunderbuss is inherently tanky, and we're playing in a medium armor loadout. So, like, 200 con isn't 200 con in light. This is 200 con in medium. This is 200 con in medium with a variety of fortifies able to be applied. Between fortified aggression here. Sorry, between the fortified aggression here, that's 10% every time you auto attack, to a 3% fortify for every time you trigger an ability, up to 5 times, and you can keep your abilities going pretty rapidly here. So that would be a max of about 15%, 25% just off these two right here. You have 20% from your earring as well. So like 45% fortify that you're able to actually keep up pretty reliably, in my opinion. So yeah, those are the stats breakdown. With this build, you're really only using the Great Axe willy-nilly. And what I mean by that is, like, you're gonna have the Blunderbuss out 99% of the time, right? Great Axe, on the other hand, that's gonna be your escape weapon. So think of like Blunderbuss and Great Axe as like the opposite of Life Staff and Rapier, in the sense that Great Axe is your escape weapon, Blunderbuss is your attack weapon. What's also nice about this build is, while it definitely benefits the build if you have Endless Spin unlocked, which you unlock by doing the worm, it's not required for the build because momentum is what makes this build strong. For the perks, we're going to be going with 5 shirking heals, so that every time you dodge, once every 7 seconds, you're healing about 1250 HP. Obviously, you should run Ankh with this. We were going to run Elemental Band. You just don't do enough elemental damage with the Great Axe as your secondary, in my opinion, to warrant it. We're running only 2 stacks of Enchanted Ward because I wanted to run 1 stack of Enchanted Vigor, and then 2 Thrust Conditionings, a Slash Conditioning, and then a Refreshing and a Freedom, but that's because of the nature of winged leather shoes, right? For Ankh, most people are probably just going to leave a protection on there, but if you truly want to min-max this build, you want to run Alacrity on the amulet as well. The longer you can have the haste lasting, the more in-between time you have to create that distance you need if you have to take a second from shooting. For your ring, we're going to be running Hardy, Healing Breeze, and Invigorated Punishment. Healing Breeze affects, or is like pops off yourself, i.e. through shirking heals, and is increased from Ankh. So like, it's a pretty solid heal. And then Earring, you're going to be running Regenerating, Refreshing Toast, and Fortifying Toast. You could easily swap Regenerating here for Refreshing and be fine. As you know, the Hoplite Earring has basically that. If you were to swap that with Refreshing. So it's a really low budget, but like, I can play the game type of replacement. And then, of course, for Great Axe, I mulled this over a little bit. The only perk that's... wait, I don't even think I can pop this. Hold on. Exclusive label violation. So no, can't even put this because it counts as a proc. Dude, the perks you have access to as your third perk for this weapon is just trash, man. Like, there's really no other way to put it. To go vicious. Yeah, like I can't do like play crits or play strikes or anything like that. So lame. You know what? Fuck it. We'll just do thwarting strikes and call it a day because like you're mainly when you're using this, you're really only using it for 2 attacks that have grits, in the form of fortifying whirlwind and thwarting strikes. I just realized that my great axe has 2 skills. So let me fix that real quick. That explains why I felt like I had all the points in the world. You're not really lighting attacking. Yeah, because you don't need a crit for that. Give that bad boy up, and then bam. Oh, but I believe this still applies like while grid is active, regardless. So I probably still want to give something up for that 5. Yeah, so I'd have to give up either this one. We'll give up critical damage because we're not really trying to do damage with the weapon per se. Like damage is nice and all, but I think that grit reduction would be better. So yeah, that's fixed. But otherwise, like for Great Axe, you're gonna be running Charge, Reap, and Whirlwind. To get away, the best way to do this is Whirlwind into a Reap. So for example, I don't have the spins unlocked, but let's say I was spinning 12 times, and then I'm able to go straight into a charge where there's no wind-up animation. Another thing is with Whirlwind, you can actually get out of the animation by using a potion instead of having to like have that long recovery frame where you kind of stand in place, or having the light attack to be able to continue. Because that was honestly one of my biggest like holdups about using this as an escape weapon. These same reasons are why I think healing with the same general concept is also plausible, but I haven't done enough testing with a personal experience to really be able to weigh on that just yet. You see here we have the 85% haste from the gear. We kind of talked about this briefly, but the winged leather shoes and the alacrity, pretty massive here. For Blunderbuss, this is the tree I recommend. The real value behind this tree is your net shot, for example. Let's say you land that first net shot while you have that ultimate tree buff available, that double down. You're basically going to have another net available in literally like 2 or 3 seconds. So you can like wait, you wait like 4 or 5 seconds and then you re-hit that net. Between that and the natural haste you get from this kit, you're pretty much able to catch anybody. All you have to do is land it. The plague splitting grenades, pretty self-explanatory, but they apply a plague, very valuable. One of the skill expressions that you can have with this is you can actually pick when it spreads. If you spam that splitting grenade, it may not even reach your actual target sometimes. By popping the splitting grenades again, you essentially make it explode into 3 smaller grenades, and then I keep calling plate splitting grenades because that's the name of the talent. But as you see here, the splitting grenades hits actually inflict disease, which is massive, and kind of your role is to minimize the amount of healing they're doing while you're completely demolishing them. One thing you're not supposed to do is essentially absorb damage, but even that, Blunderbuss does a pretty solid job of doing. Perk-wise, who would have guessed? We're going to go with run and gun here. This makes it so this haste now lasts about 2 seconds or so. I'm curious how long the reload lasts, but I don't know if it'll actually show me that anyway. Let's see. That does not tell you. That's kind of lame. Oh well. Where was I? And then blast shot. I will say this is a hard ability to get used to using. One of the main reasons we're taking this is because we don't want to have the wasted point of artillery, as 9 times out of 10 the people you're hitting are going to be within 10 meters, right? So last chance is pretty valuable, but let's focus on blast shot for a second, right? You knock people down, which we live in a post-grit world. This is incredibly valuable. You can knock people down, especially if they're in a clump or they're about to get crashed on, etc. And then anybody you actually knock down or like even hit with this, because it does do weapon damage, right? Also gets another 10% rend for 6 seconds. Huge. We already kind of talked about the ultimate, but this also applies to things like plate splitting grenades. If you know you're going to want to double drop on a clump, you have it up, you hold your abilities, you just kind of left click, you wait till wait to splitting grenade, and then call it a day. Simple as that. What's great is like there's also a haste here, right? A 20% haste for 3 seconds that lasts now 6 seconds. So if you already have the haste from firing the 10, like hitting somebody 10 times with the blunderbuss, now you have another hit 20% for 6 seconds off of having used splitting grenades. It's just that, and then on top of that, like you have the running gun, which gives you a 40% haste while you're reloading. You reach a point with haste where like you're just reliably at cap and you're actually able to outpace a regular melee, like a bruiser, for example. And then Heart Rune, I've really been enjoying Brutal Heart Rune of the Firestorm. It's kind of like a line detonate, basically, where it does twice the weapon damage. So right now, a 625 detonate, which this is 700, don't get me wrong, but a 625 detonate does 3200. A 700 fire or Brutal Heart Rune of the Firestorm does about 3k or so on weapon damage. Now, detonates do it about 20% extra. I don't. The empowers for the Heart Rune are kind of iffy on how well they can reliably stay applied. But overall, like this is still can be a great supplement to your combo as well because it gives you another 10% in power. It inflicts a weaken. It's also an animation cancel. So what I'll usually do is a blast shot into a net shot into a firestorm, or a blast shot firestorm net shot, and I'll normally hit with all three. Simply put. And then after that, it's just about splitting grenades and auto attacking. We're not running the other Heart Rune here, so it's not as important. But overall, you should be weaving auto attacks. Or now, I say auto attacks just because of the aim lock, right? But you should be weaving in left clicks or light attacks with the your abilities. Simply put. But yeah, so this is Blunderbuss Great Axe. Now to talk at the high level, why I think this can work against healers. So right now, healers can get away very easily, especially in like the wide fight, for example, because they run a weapon called Hatchet. Hatchet gives you a 30% haste for 15 seconds. With net shot, they don't get away for 15 seconds, right? That's one. Two, you have a bunch of plague, so even if they do have the time to heal, they heal a lot less. You have a knockdown, and you also have Reap, two abilities that can stagger, right? I will say that, from my experience, Reap is not reliable to stagger if you try to weave even one Blunderbuss attack in. But overall, it's still a way to interrupt the healing ability if you really need to and you know it's coming, right? And just overall, you're able to do all this damage. You keep this haste going. You're basically just left-clicking. You're forcing them to have to run to the fight until they've lost or gotten their berserk up, and then they try to escape. But the whole time, if you're just left-clicking them nonstop, they have to keep healing themselves. If they have to heal themselves, they're not healing their allies. If they're not healing their allies should die to the rest of your team. That's my logic behind why I think this build could definitely work in a sender role. Ideally, I'll be able to pilot this later tonight. We'll see. But yeah, otherwise, it is like 8:39. I've been yapping for a little bit here. I'm going to take this, cut this, splice this. If you're watching this as a video instead of live, right after this, we're going to show a very short excerpt of me actually playing this build in OPR. So you can kind of see what I'm talking about and how to actually play the build. But for those of you live, I appreciate y'all sitting here listening to me yap, getting to hear this before it gets uploaded to YouTube. This build was requested by, I think, like literally 6 different people in the company I'm in on Rosa Cornucopium. So I wanted to make sure I put this in a way that was easy to understand for them. They seem to, at least the feedback I've gotten is people have really enjoyed these deep dives on builds, whether it be for OPRs, open world, fucking arenas, war. So if these are things you're interested in, please keep making sure you're letting me know, DM me, thumbs it up, all that other good shit. But it's enjoyable for me to kind of take this information and actually place it in a forum that you can learn from and actually use. So thanks for coming along. Ulfric, Ulfric. Hey, look at Restudo, top left. Restudo, top left. He's a fire staff. Arrow Slayer, right side. Blunderbuss, dead, sweet. Ulfric, beautiful. Reform top left, reform top left. Alright, we won this 100%. I'm just sitting in their back right now and I'm just farming them. Like, I'm being completely ignored. What the fuck? Oh, not anymore. Oh yeah, I mean, I just gotta run in circles around the guy. He can't catch me. Yeah, this is pretty toxic, I'm not gonna lie. Imagine chasing a healer in war with this. Like, let me find out who the AoE healer is with this build. Reform guy, right side. Hey, come back to go back to sun. Go back to sun. Where it's halfway taken. Yeah, he's literally using the same fucking build as me. Yeah. Hey, I'm all about it. Let the build expand. Let the build expand. You know. Dome of Rock, Dome of Rock. Reform guy is in our inside. He's about to jump out. He's about to jump out. Reform guy just jumped out. Reform guy's dead. Gentle criminal. I'm not gonna die to my copycat, no! Oh my god, that was close. Sorry, homie, I do it better. Hey, Dome of Rock is inside. That's an easy kill right there, every time. We'll leave at like 45. What is this guy role playing as? Sword and Shield Fire Staff? Where you at? You need help? Hey, and I'm away! I made that motherfucker run. Holy shit. They just rebuilt the door. Fuck. I mean, we could just fire them outside of here. We need somebody to go take our... Well, yeah, we're winning Moon, it looks like. Always probably on the melees. Once you kill the melees, range focus ranged. Call it a day. I almost got caught lacking right there. Oof. Hey, just kill Doma Black, but leave Sabretooth. He's just a tank. Every second he can buy so that people can respawn is a win for that guy. Oh, I found Phaelot. He thought he could just farm. Sorry, buddy, but I'm just better. Ugh. Oh, that was a little early. Test subject Cov, right? Super low. Hey, my son wants to say hello to me! Yeah, but I don't take it easy on my children. What can I say?